Unit 8, Day 3, Inverse Trig Ratios. We're going to concentrate today on finding missing angles. Finding missing angles. So, if you know sine, cosine, and tangent ratios of an angle, you can use the inverse functions to find the measure of the missing angles. So if you look at your calculator, you're going to see sine, cosine, and tangent on the front keys. And you will be able to see in the back, if you hit the second key, the inverse keys. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand and we're going to label our triangle. Opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. So in this case, we have opposite and hypotenuse. So we are going to write SOHCAHTOA. And so we're doing sine. So we have sine. We don't know the angle. So when we don't know the angle, we're going to use the inverse keys. Open up parentheses and we're going to put in our ratio. So opposite is 15. Hypotenuse is 24. We'll put it in the calculator just like that. And x is equal to 38.7 degrees. So here we go. We are going to stand at the angle we're trying to find, and we're going to label close to where I am, that's adjacent. This is opposite, and this is hypotenuse. So I'm looking at opposite and adjacent. So let me write across the top. SOHCAHTOA. I have O and A, so that's going to be tan, tangent. I don't know the angle. When you don't know the angle, you're using the inverse keys. So you're going to hit the second tan button and go ahead and put your ratio in, 20/37. So let's see what we get. And x is equal to 28.4 degrees. Next, at the top, SOHCAHTOA. Stand, we have opposite and hypotenuse, that's TOA. We're looking for an angle, so we're going to use the inverse keys. So that's sine, opposite sine is 40 and the hypotenuse is 41. So on your calculator, hit second sine, 40/41, round to the nearest tenth, and let's see what you get. 77.3 degrees. Okay, we'll start off by writing at the top. SOHCAHTOA. We're going to stand, label. We have O and A. Let's see which one we're going to use. Oh, that's tangent. Tangent. Now we have an angle, so we don't need to use the inverse key. So tangent of 39 is equal to opposite, which is 11/x. Let's solve for x and see what we get. Once we cross multiply and solve for x, x is equal to 13.6. Okay, this one is find DE, so here is DE. When I look, we don't have enough information to find DE. So how is DE connected to the other triangle? Here's the connection, so let's find out what this side is. So we're going to see what we're working with. SOHCAHTOA. We're going to stand up here at 61. 24 is adjacent. And this side over here is opposite. So we have tangent of 61 is equal to x/24. Let's see what x is. Okay, we found the missing side. Now we're going to use that to find DE. So if we stand here and label, DE is going to be opposite and we have adjacent. So that's going to be tangent. Tangent of 19 is equal to x/43.3. Let's solve for x and see what we get. And we found out that x is equal to 14.9. Okay, word problems. We're going to talk about angle of elevation. So when we talk about angle of elevation, it's when we look up to an object. So when we create a triangle, we're going to look up, come down, and create the right triangle. So when we read through this problem, Casey sights the top of an 80-foot tall lighthouse at an angle of elevation of 58 degrees. So what we do know is we're looking up because we see angle of elevation, and we do know we have an angle of elevation of 58 degrees. Okay, so this is looking up 58 degrees. If Casey is 6 feet tall, how far is he standing from the base of the lighthouse? So we have 6 feet and we have an 80-foot tall lighthouse. So I don't know how to close this triangle up because I got a 6-foot tall person and I have a 80-foot tall lighthouse. So let's take a look at this picture, and I want you to decide which one represents the diagram. So scenario number 1. Here's my 6-foot person. Here's my 58-degree angle of elevation, and here is my 84-foot lighthouse. And here's X. So if I use this angle, opposite and adjacent, to find this missing side, what do I do with his height? Or do we not need it? Is it a distraction? If so, this is how I set it up. Tangent of 58 is equal to 84 over X. Scenario number 2. If he's standing up and his eyesight is here, and then he looks up at a 58-degree angle to the top of the lighthouse, and the lighthouse is 84 feet, then we have to back out 6 feet off the lighthouse because he's 6 feet. So we still have tangent of 58, but it's equal to 78 over X. Which one is the best scenario? You figure it out and you let your teacher know. Okay, look at this one. Leah's mom is standing at the bottom of the slide at the playground, waiting for Leah to slide down. If the angle of elevation from the bottom of the slide to the top is 46 degrees, and the slide has a vertical height of 9 feet, find the length of the slide. All right, so here's mom waiting for her baby to come down the slide. Here's the 46-degree angle of elevation, and here is the height. So what is it that we're trying to find? Where does X go? X is the length of the slide. So here is X right here. So we can go ahead and put an X there. So if we label everything, this is opposite and this is hypotenuse. So let's figure out the length of the slide. So after we set it up, sine of 46 is equal to 9 over X. We get that X is equal to 12.5. So the length of the slide is 12.5. Angle of depression. So we're looking down at an object. So the angle of depression is formed by an observer's line of sight and the horizontal line. So an angle of depression is congruent to the angle of elevation because they are alternate interior angles. So the angle of depression, depending on how you look at it, is really outside of the triangle. So let's draw this picture. A lifeguard is sitting on a platform, looking down at a swimmer in the water. If the lifeguard's line of sight is 8 feet above the ground, and the angle of depression to the swimmer is 18 degrees, how far away is the swimmer from the lifeguard? So let's take a look at this picture. So here's the lifeguard up here on the platform. His eyes look down at an 18-degree angle of depression. So this angle is outside the triangle, but it's also congruent with my angle of elevation because these are alternate interior. So if I stand here, my opposite side, which is the height of where the lifeguard is 8. And how far the swimmer is from that stand is my X. So I have opposite and adjacent. Let's see what we get. And after we set it up for tangent, we find out that X is equal to 24.6. All right, so this one's a little tricky. So building A is 480 feet tall and building B is 654 feet tall. Now the angle of depression from the top of building B, which is the bigger, taller building, to building A is 42 degrees. How far apart are the buildings? So check this out. Here's my picture. Building A, 480. Building B, 684. The top of building B down to building A is a 42 degree angle of depression. So that means here is 42 degrees, which means the angle down here is 42 degrees. What's the distance between the two? Not only do we need to find this distance between the two, we need to find this height here. We can find this height if we take 684 and subtract 480. And whatever we get here, we need to place that value here and use trig to solve. Show this one to your teacher when you have the answer. So, quiz next class. See if you can answer these 4 questions. And then push pause and come back and check your answers. Voila! Here are your final answers. Number 1, Pythagorean's theorem, in x is equal to 5. Number 2, we checked to see if it was a triangle, and it was. It does make a triangle. And then c squared was bigger than the square of the legs, so it was obtuse. Number 3 was a square, so the legs were the same, so we did x squared plus x squared. Once we simplified it, we got x is equal to 6.36. Number 4, we used trig, and we found out that x is equal to 16. Voila, there you are.